Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest webinar put on by UECNA. We are really delighted to have a very special speaker who Eleftheria will introduce in just a minute on a very particular subject, which I know many, many people are interested in, low-frequency noise, ultrafine particles. My name is John Stewart, and I chair UECNA. I'll be convening the discussion later on today. But over to you, Eleftheria, to introduce our distinguished speaker.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to UECNA's webinar. Today, I'm introducing Dr. Ourania Konstanti, who has a PhD diploma in cell biology and a Master Science in Agricultural Biotechnology. Ourania is a biologist, researcher of National and Kapodistrian University of Athens. She has worked as a collaborative researcher at the University of Amsterdam and in 5 European proposals. She belongs today to the laboratory teaching staff of the Department of Cell Biology and Biophysics of the National and Kapodistrian University of Athens, where she is teaching advanced cell biology. She works on applications of biology in medicine, drug development, genetic and neurobiology, plus pedagogy through innovative technologies and biomedical approaches at the University of West Attica. She has more than 18 scientific publications in referred journals and over 300 citations, whilst she was an author and co-author of book chapters and top 6 publications, and more than 35 publications in Greek and international conferences. She is an EU Climate Pact ambassador like me and a member of the Committee for the Safe Disposal of Hazardous Chemicals and Waste at the University of Athens. She will present to us today the consequences of ultrafine particles and low-frequency noise in human biology and health. I have to ask you to check that your microphones are off. And dear Ourania, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I would like to thank you for all of you for the invitation, and especially Eleftheria, John and Eleftheria for giving me this opportunity to present you the consequences of the noise and not the sound, and especially the low frequency noise produced from the aircraft to the biological systems and of course in health, because biology is our health, and health is the result of good biology. We are going to say some words and answer some questions. What is the sound for biology? Why we need the sound, and what is the difference between the sound and the noise? Here I'm presenting is Fabrice, my dog. In the first picture is when he listened to nature or natural sounds. And the second picture is when he listens to human activity produced sounds. For animals, for him, is like noise, is the cause to be stressed, to feel fear, and finally to check if everything is okay. So natural sounds, they are more easier to be accepted by our biological systems than the human activities produce sounds. Just a few words about the sound. Okay, sound, it's waves that they go they are producing vibrations. They move the air molecules, and they go those vibrations through the different acoustic organs. I mean, the external eye, the middle eye, and the internal ear. They go from the outside in our cerebrum. In our cerebrum, our brain, there are special places that every sense is connected. So here is the cranial nerve responsible for the acoustic signals. Every time that a sound is received by this area, this region, the acoustic region, we have a reflex. Every sense, every stimulation has a reflex from our central nervous system. So every sound, every vibration means that it is like a stimulus for our central nervous system, and we have a reflex. This reflex, it's not accordingly, we don't, it's unconsciousness, okay? It's our autonomous systems that decide what the reflex will be according to the signal translation. Here is the pattern. Sounds, they go through the different, the external and the inner ear. They are here in the cerebrum, in this spatial area that I told you about. Here, the signal is received by the neurons. Neurons are the very special cells of the neuron system. They change area. They go to the motion neurons, and we have the reflex. This is the pathway, the signal and the translation of the signal that follows is receiving from the sense neurons, is going to the motion neurons, and then we have the reflex. It's the autonomous systems that decide. All these signal transductions, it means that we have, in a molecular level, we have proteins. Everything, it's made by proteins. Proteins are the tools. DNA and genes have the information, and those informations, they are translated into proteins. Proteins are the tools. Micromolecules, they are consisted from amino acids. You can see them here. And actually, they are molecules that in the category of chemistry, they are under the name of organic chemistry, organic compounds. They have carbon, they have oxygen, they have nitrogen, and oxygen. All those vibrations, vibration is the key. Vibrations, they affect proteins, they affect the molecules, and those vibrations, they are translated, they are transducted to the proteins atoms. Why sound for biology is important? Hearing is more important for biology, even by seeing. We have some animals that they cannot see, but they can hear. Actually, we use sounds for communication. It's our tool for communication, not only for humans, but of course for animals and vertebrates too. This is something that also Aristotle was telling, that hearing contributes greatly to cognition and communication, that it's because of it's the cause of the knowledge, and knowledge is behind the spoken word. So after communication, knowledge has about learning. We hear and we learn something, and we have special places in order to put this information. It's how we move. The spatial perception is the cause of understanding is the sounds. Reproduction. We use sounds for many reasons for the reproduction, especially the animals. We use sounds in order to express our emotions. And we use sound for protection. Protection has to do with the main feeling and the main motivation is the survival. Protection has to do with survival. So we cannot, it's very important, the sounds, and it's very important to have a good health about our acoustic pathways. What's the difference for noise? Noise is of course sounds, but the vibrations and the waves, they are in a type that it's very annoying for biological systems. And you can see here, it's a graphical abstract of a scientific study. Researchers have done some experiments in mice, and they have understand how noise is affecting and why noise is affecting the biological systems. Mice, they are exposed in different vibrations from noises, and then they have measured the biochemical pathway. The biochemical pathways are all the proteins produced in a special organ. Let's say the group of proteins produced in brain, the group of proteins produced in liver, the group of proteins produced in lungs. Okay, they have done so this analysis, and they have resulted to know which of the proteins they were affected from the noise. So we have a series of proteins resulting that the noise is overstimulating our brain, our cerebrum, and the reflex by this stimulation is a proteotoxic stress response. Our cells, our brain, they are stressed and they produce proteins in order to express this stress and to do whatever it has to be done under stress conditions for protection. And this is, of course, the problem, okay? Because stress conditions and stress proteins, they are harmful for our biological system. Exactly, it's what it is happening. Noise is the low frequency noise that it's the aircraft noise that is produced. The range is the vibrations produced by those hertz. They are annoying our biological systems, and it is reacting like to be under stress conditions. We have here, there are two publications connecting the low frequency noise and one of the most known diseases in this area, the vibroacoustic disease. So vibrations is the main cause that we have problems when we listen or when we are affected from the aircraft noise and in general low frequency noise. The result from the vibrations and except the vibroacoustic disease is that the vibrations, they are affecting the cells and the tissues, that they are damaged. Of course, this is not something happen if we are just once. We listen to those no's. The exposure time is a critical factor. And the non-linear response is the viscoelastic properties. Just a few words about what we're going to see now. There are, in the scientific literature, we have our databases where we have all the publications, biomedical publications from all over the world. Of course, it's very difficult to go deep in these publications because we are talking about not only thousands, but it's millions of publications. So we have developed digital tools like the data mine, the visit tool. It's a data mining tool. It means that this tool is searching and analyze texts in order for us to have to make correlations for biological entities. I don't read me. It's the tool that did for me, it gives me the result. You will, so just as history, the first publication talking about noise and health problems was in 1952. For the next 20 years, you can see we have something around 20 publications per year, till another 20 years that we have just almost 100, but in the next year, still 2024, where we have almost 800. It's hundreds of publications per year, because the problem is now is bigger than it was in the past. So it's something that the scientists are worried about, and they are trying to give answers and to search and analyze what the answer could be, what the solution could be. Here we have make the first query. It's about the noise produced by the aircraft, and according to the publications, according to the scientific literature, to which anatomical locations is correlated. You can see some of the publications here. You can see that, of course, is the ear, that it's affected by the aircraft noise. It's the heart. You can see a lot of location, cells, and tissues, they are in the nervous system, but we have the eye, we have the fetus, we have the liver, the colon, the skin, the immune system also. We can understand how the brain is affected, but as a secondary reflex, other organs, they are affected too. The first reflex made by the brain, made by the central nervous system, has secondary answers that affect the skin, the liver, the colon, or the heart and the lungs. You cannot see too many things here, but we are going to check every group later. It's the diseases that they are correlated with the aircraft noise and the different anatomical locations. Just first about heart. We have some cardiovascular diseases. We can check them here, and some of them, they are written here. We have publications that actually we know about from epidemiological studies, okay, epidemiological studies that they are analyze populations, special populations, and they have the data. They collect the data and the results. So we know that populations near airports, they have a high cardiovascular risk, okay, and some cardiovascular diseases, they have increased among those populations. Next, here, this photo, it's on the same program. As I told you before, every reaction, it means that we have a protein, a micromolecule that it's affected. You have here a number of proteins like renin, like angiotensin. They are very, they are biomarkers for us for the cardiovascular diseases. And there is a connection between the noise, the low frequency noise, the aircraft produced by aircrafts, those proteins, and of course, the heart. Collagen 1 and 3, they are proteins that they make our cardiomyocytes to work well. There are some cells that they are exceptionally we can only to the heart. Those cells, they are full of collagen type 1 and 3. Noise and low frequency noise affect this spatial protein by the vibrations, and that because cardiomyocytes, they move, they have the movement.
Okay. Bob, can you go on mute, please? Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Bob.
Vibrations, they affect the movement of those cells, and we have problems with the cardiac rhythm. Here, it's the reproductive system of a man that is affected by the acoustic stress. I told you before that we have the response is stress for the nervous system. So the acoustic stress has secondary reflexes and affect the reproductive system. Just to tell you that this is not, we're talking about humans, but the same biological system, it's for animals too, whatever this means for the environment. It's not only proteins, but DNA also that is affected. And we have some some researchers, they have say in their publications that we have teratogenesis in populations living next to the airports. Digestive disorders due to sleep disturbances. Nervous system under stress, that means that the functions are not are dysfunctioning, so we don't have a quality of sleep. Doesn't have a quality of sleep, has another third reaction, is the digestive system disorders. And because sometimes excuse me, we have alcohol consumption sometimes, we have a different behavior, we don't eat well, and that means that maybe it's a factor for colon cancer. Hearing and communication. Of course, hearing is it's our main organ affected. We have hearing loss. We have the vibroacoustic disease. We have the illness. We have special populations that are affected more, like children and old people. That the nervous system in children, it's developing right now. It's under development. In old people, we have the aging effects, and we have a nervous system that it's not function well because of the aging, because of the biological procedure of aging. So if we have an external factor that stimulates and make damage, we have a double score of dysfunctioning of the nervous system in elder people. Lungs, it's another organ affected by as a secondary reflex, and another disease is diabetes. Diabetes is a very severe disease. It's a secondary reflex because of having a bad quality of sleep. When we sleep, our biological system has the opportunity to relax, has the opportunity to make all the balances the organ and that our organism needs in order to function well. So one of these balances is the glucose level. When we don't sleep well, it's difficult to have a good level of glucose. We cannot regulate this glucose. The result is developing diabetes. You can see here, of course, two groups of diseases that they are direct linked to the brain and to the autonomous system. Is memory. It's about, it's all those diseases, they have to do with the neurons, with the special cells from our nervous system. So if the neurons are not function well, the problem is that we don't have a good memory, we don't have a good working memory. We have some psychiatric symptoms, not diseases, we have only the symptoms. So it's a fake psychiatric disease. We have personality disorders. We have emotional stress. Elder people, they have, or people that they have only Alzheimer or Parkinson. We have cognition disorders. Is that we have in the beginning that by hearing, we have a very good tool for knowledge and cognition. We lost this tool. We lost also cognition. Just to say a few words about how this happens, why this what means this function of neurons has as a result of those diseases. Here you can see noise, aircraft noise, and here is the depression, just the disease. All the other are biological pathways that they are affected from noise, and they are strongly correlated with depression. Blood, it's not where our pressure, and we have vasoconstriction problems. The homeostatic process, the regulation, it's not well done. Reflex, another biological pathway, it's under stress. The immune response, it's not well. We have found two proteins, two interleukins, that they are affected by noise, so immune response is not the right one. And here you can see a very important biomarker for our health is the circadian rhythm. It's a tool that every person has about the cycles, the biological functions are doing every day. The circadian rhythm, it's one of his works. It's the sleep, the different sleep types we are done. They have place during night time. When circadian rhythm is affected, our sleep is affected. Our routine is affected. So we cannot have a quality of life, a well-being. DNA is affected. We can see here DNA methylation is a process that our cells, the methylation is a process that our cells are aging quickly. It's a cause. The visual perception, feeding behavior and habituation. Sometimes because the circadian rhythm it's not regulated, during the night we need to eat. This is a dysregulation of our system. So you have here is the main pathway, sensory perception. Sensory neurons, the cells that they are receiving the stimulus, the vibrations, the sounds. They are affected by these vibrations. So the signal they send to the motion neurons, it's wrong. They don't send the right signal. This is why and the steps between noise and the brain diseases. It's not only biology, it's also the economical impact. When we have asked this tool to correlate the noise by aircraft and the drugs. Many of them They are correlated with diabetes, of course, with cardiovascular diseases, with depression. They are diseases that are affecting a very large number of people. That means that we need a lot of drugs, and except of our health, we have an economical impact. The money going to those drugs would be released in our public health systems to a better health. We are consuming, because of the problems, a lot of drugs that we could avoid to use them. The same thing is when we have the ultrafine particles produced by the airplanes. So this is the air pollution correlated with the aircraft. Here is the first diagram, the first graph that I have showed to you with transport aircraft noise produced by noise. And here we have added one more factor, which is the air pollution, the ultrafine particles. You can see that all diseases we have talked about, they are correlated with air pollution too. Ultrafine particles, that is a very big study, the Sapaldia study, exactly analyzing how those particles, the ultrafine particles, and exposure to noise and air pollution, they affect the DNA methylation. DNA methylation for biologists is a key point for damaging cells and tissue. Of course, there is a very positive correlation, positive between noise, ultrafine particles, and the DNA methylation process. Some publications for only for the ultrafine particles, they are talking about inflammation, genotoxicity, that means cancer, cell viability, and cytotoxicity, that means cell death. The brain, we have dendritic cells. So they are a very special group of neurons that cannot be mature, so they are dysregulated, they are dysfunctioning because they are not in the proper condition to function well. And also we have blood and blood pressure that is affected by the presence of ultrafine particles in our blood. Here is a summary by words, but I will prefer to show you some photos. We have noise, we have sounds, we have noise, we have vibrations that they enter, it's air molecular movements. They enter the external the external ear, in the middle ear, and then they go to the cerebrum in the acoustic area. There we have a stimulated acoustic region, a stimulated cerebrum that gives and transducts the wrong signals in the next regions. The very small molecules affected are proteins, and then we have cells and tissues, resulting in diseases. Dysfunctioning of cells, dysfunctioning of proteins means dysfunction of cells, tissues, and result in diseases, human diseases, but the same mechanism is for plants and animals. My last goodbye, I would like to be, because as I told you, proteins, they have a movement. They are molecules that they move. They are not static. So scientists in Harvard Medical School, they have translated the vibrations from the proteins movement to vibrations of sounds. And thus, I would like to put a video in order for us to listen to music produced by our proteins. I would like to thank all of you for listening those informations.
Ourania, thank you very much indeed. That was absolutely fascinating. Maybe if you stop sharing your screen, we can then go
I will. I have a last. Yes, I have a last slide just saying thank you to you.
Okay. Right. If people want to turn on their cameras, feel free to do so, because it always looks better looking at people's faces than just blank screens. We've got some time for questions and comments. So if you want to ask a question or make a comment, raise your hand, either your real hand or your virtual hand. I'm not sure I can see everybody, but if I don't spot you, just start talking, as long as somebody else is not talking at the same time. I meant to say that, of course, the session is recorded, and both the slides and the YouTube version of the recording will go up on our website in a few days' time. Okay, who wants to start? Debbie, and maybe on you go.
Okay, so I've been asking the researchers here in the US because, you know, I was on the advisory group for the Move Up study that the UW did over about 6 years, 4-year speaker, just so they know. This was an investigation of the ultrafine particle element from aviation. And then we looked at health, and a lot of the health impacts that you're talking about overlap with what we saw in significantly higher health effects in our area. And it's not possible to track causation back to the aircraft themselves, but it's anecdotal evidence that it's closely related, because where you have high aircraft noise and high ultrafine particle pollution, you have much higher incidence of the diseases you have discussed. This low frequency noise issue was discussed at the Airport Noise and Emissions Symposium last year by Brian Johnson, who is an engineer and built equipment and measured the low frequency noise and vibration, and found that it's about 90% of the aircraft noise that is measured not measured, sorry, by the industry itself. They use a DNL method, which is a weighted sound. It doesn't pick up the low frequency noise and vibration. So he remarked that it disrupts cell function. And because the rhythms and the sounds are similar to the cells, the low frequency noise and vibration is very similar to the cell's frequency and vibration. Actually, it'd be the proteins, according to what you've done. So you've done a good job of overlapping these impacts. So there is a cumulative effect from both put together. And I wonder what that looks like for infant mortality and preterm birth and low birth weight and things like that. If you would consider expanding your research, because we have very high statistics in those that are centered around the airport noise paths as well.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. Or
Sorry if that's a tough question.
No, I have, when in the group of diseases that they are related to the fetus, there are teratogenesis, it's macrocephaly, is abortions, is low weight birth. There is a difficulty because all those results, as you told, they are from epidemiological studies. It's very difficult because we have to develop sub-models, animal models, in order to be sure and do the biochemical profile of the systems. So we go step by step. There are some labs, but in order to be sure what is the biochemical pathway or what proteins are affected for abortions or for low birth weight, we have to develop some animal models, and this is not easy. Actually, there are some labs that they are doing those experiments, and I hope that in the near future, as we have the answers about diabetes, as we have the answer for heart diseases, what proteins they are affected, I think that we will have also for the mother dose, for abortions or for pregnancy problems. But for sure, from epidemiological studies, we are sure that there is a connection.
Thank you very much for that. Colin.
Thank you. I've actually got two questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure. Fire away.
Thank you. The first one is, you mentioned that circadian rhythms are impacted by low frequency noise. And so there will be physical changes, damage as a result of that. Do you see comparable damage in people who are working shifts because their circadian rhythms are altered as well?
There are some evidence, yes. But in order to be, there are some evidence from the publications that I have in my system right now, yes. But just to be sure, I have to do just a small research and go back to you, because the queries I have raised, it's specialized for those entities, biological entities. But from the publications, yes, in some publications, I have seen that there is some evidence and correlation between the two subjects.
Okay, the reason I ask is it was International Night Flight Day a few days ago, and obviously there's a lot of concern about night flights and the disruption to sleep. So
Yes.
you may be getting a double hit from low frequency noise and sleep disturbance. Then the second question, if I could continue, is I've been trying to find people in the UK who are doing research on ultrafine particles and noise, but I haven't been able to find any. Do you have any contacts in the UK with researchers or universities on this topic?
I can make a search, and because it's not my topic, the noise, okay, I'm a cell biologist and bioinformatician, but I'm not, my research in the lab, it's not correlated with noise, but I can do my research and I will give to you an answer about the labs that in UK, they are researching this, they analyze this subject. I can send the information to Eleftheria, to John, to everyone, and then to contact you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant. And we can get that information to you,
Yes.
Colin.
Yes, I will do it.
Eleftheria, you wanted to come in.
Yes, thank you, John. Thank you, Ourania. It was a marvelous presentation. I just want to make an observation about data mining. This was a very impressive tool, and I think that the data mining and the correlation it gives us between aircraft noise and ultrafine particles and low frequency noise and all of these diseases, that it goes back to 1952, is a very important tool for us to fight for our health, to contact the European Union and give all these facts. And thank you very much for doing this for us.
Yeah, thank you, Eleftheria. Right, any more questions or comments? Yes, Horst.
Yes, I'm afraid I didn't fully understand what are the special effects of low frequency noise. Most of the diseases you mentioned are related to noise in general, normal noise, so to say. Are there any special effects on the biochemical level from low frequency noise different from noise in other frequencies, or can you give any other differences which are special for low frequency noise?
The correlation and our query was for low frequency noise. So the biochemical pathways and the molecules like collagen type 1 and 3 for the cardiomyocytes, or insulin resistance and the glucose tolerance pathway. In those studies, it was specialized for low frequency noise, not in general for noise. If I understood well the question, yes. It's a special biochemical reaction for low frequency noise, not in general for noise.
And I think I'm right in saying the vibroacoustic disease is a result that you mentioned and is central to this, is as a result of low frequency noise, isn't it? Because
yes, of course, the vibrations.
That's right, because it comes from, you know, people who are exposed to wind turbines say exactly the same.
Of course, and DNA methylation, the very big, the last study we talked about, it was both from aircraft noise, from low frequency noise and ultrafine particles, I'm sorry. It was especially for low frequency noise.
Okay, that I think that clarifies it, Horst, does it, for you?
Well, partly.
Partly.
I'm especially I'm not physician, or I'm especially interested what is the relation between different kinds of noise and the diseases we see. So if we can identify different causes from low frequency noise and correlate this with special forms of disease, that would be a very interesting effect. But I don't see right now how we can say this kind of low frequency noise or this kind of infrasound can give us special consequences we don't see with normal noise, or let's say with noise that is normally measured. So that would be an argument to extend the measurement of noise to the low frequency range and don't use the normal measurements, but to have the greater frequency measured, especially for aircraft noise, where we have a sufficient part of this low frequency or infrasound.
Just to add the information that when we study proteins, when we study the proteome, experiments are done in animal models. So it's in the lab, and we can use the noise is specialized. The metrics they are specified by the researchers, so we know it's not in general. So we know the hertz and the type of the sound, the noise that we are using. So it's specialized. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I don't see any more hands. So
ask another.
yes, Debbie.
So there's kind of an argument going on in the US because the FAA, our airport authority, did a neighborhood noise assessment and found that people were more annoyed or bothered by the noise than what they had anticipated and what their models showed. And so we're having a big fight about how FAA measures noise. FAA is not talking about low frequency noise and vibration. And even though this is a topic that's been brought up for 20, 30 years, they ignore that aspect of it. And like I said, the engineer who did his own equipment and his own studies found that 90% of the noise is low frequency on a Hertz scale, low frequency noise and vibration that does not get measured by the industry when they do their modeling. So the biggest impact to us that is the most health damaging is not being overseen by any of the regulatory authority here in the US. So there's LEQ, there's N above, there's these different kinds of propositions about how to measure aircraft noise in relationship to health. What is the best method that you're aware of to do that captures the low frequency and the health effects?
For answer this question, I have to do also a research because it's not possible. I have what method, which method is the best. I'm not, as I told you before, a researcher for noise and biology. So I will keep the question, and I will be back querying my tool, analyzing the answers, and I will send to you an answer.
Okay, I appreciate that. John has a colleague in Italy who is an acoustical engineer, and maybe he knows the answer to this question.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll get the Ourania can email myself. I will email you, Debbie. I will also email Giulio in Italy. Larry, you wanted to come in.
Yes, I'm just curious if anyone on the call has any information on the noise spectrum that various aircraft types put out over the frequency range.
If I understand the question right, Larry, it's you're saying what is it, something like what proportion of noise within an aircraft is low frequency? Is that what you're getting at?
An aircraft is making noises over a spectrum of frequency, hertz.
That's right. That's right.
And across that spectrum, different frequencies, the energy intensity is different. So
yes.
I'm kind of visualizing kind of like a bar chart with frequency on the x-axis and some energy measurement, sound level, whatever, on the y-axis. Yes. And I just wonder if that's available by aircraft type.
Larry, Brian might have done that work when he was measuring for his study on the low frequency noise and health in Arizona. I'll check in with him and see if he's got anything on that, and send me your email and I'll get in touch with him.
That'd be very helpful, Debbie. I don't know if it'd be very interesting what you're asking. It's a very interesting question, Larry, and I don't know if the work has been done by aircraft type, which could be very revealing if it has done. It's a good question.
I think that,
and I think we may make this the last question. I think
it's not a question; it's really an answer. I think that scene have shown us something like that, but I don't remember when we can talk about it at the AGM. But I think that he has given us this information. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't recall how many types of airplanes did he tell us about. There is a question too at the chat, but it's not for Ourania. It's for the whole group of people. If anyone knows about light, L-night does not reflect any acoustical property of housing, as did the LAQ night in the Netherlands. Does anybody knows why not?
Ourania, do you want to come back? You want to come back?
Yes, I would like just to say biology, it's not something very strict. Sometimes we have, even with experiments in animals, we know something, but people, we have the personalized medicine. Every person has his own biology. So some people living under the same conditions, they are reacting in a different way. Biology is something, it's not yes or no, okay? Yeah. So sometimes we know but maybe there is a person that is affected more and another that is less, or not at all. So just have in mind that also we can give, the scientists can give answers, but nothing is absolute, okay? Even saying that we have the right combination of vibrations and hertz and intensities and time and everything, probably there is a person that it's not under this rule.
Thank you very much. And listen, let me take this opportunity to thank you for the whole presentation. It was really fascinating, and I think it showed in the questions that followed afterwards. We haven't yet got all the answers, but what you've highlighted is the importance low frequency noise. And I thought what I thought was really fascinating was how the number of publications were virtually zero in the 1950s, and they've risen dramatically to 824 now. And I think it's a reflection of the fact that low frequency noise almost has forced itself onto the agenda. And I think it's something that a number of industries, not just the aircraft industry, need to take account of. So thank you so much for the presentation. It was absolutely fascinating, and I'm going to hand over to Eleftheria to say farewell to everybody.
Thank you, John. I want to thank you all for coming from different areas of Europe, from the United States and Australia. And I wanted to say that the dates of our next webinars will be announced in our site and to the social media, because we don't have the exact date tonight to tell it to you. So thank you all and have a nice evening.
Thank you.